I'm Stewart Morrell. I'm a lecturer at the Manchester Metropolitan University, one of the partner colleges for American Hotel Academy. I'm here today to take the initial lecture for final year's dissertation students, and the whole process is about orientation and understanding the process of research and their role in it.
Hi, I'm Gavin Clowes. I'm Director of Kagan UK, which is an arm of Kagan USA, and we are a company that look at engaging strategies for all kinds of educators. That could be teachers of kindergarten, it could be primary, secondary teachers, but today it's university lecturers.
Two angles to attack the answer for that question. One from a higher education lecturer, and one from the teaching and learning consultant. So what I've been concentrating on today is the content, and Gavin's concentrated on the form of delivery and coaching me through that specific delivery pattern, so that the overriding objective of the session was reached, and that was maximum engagement of the students during the session.
So the structures we've been using, and another word for structures might be tools or strategies, are Kagan, K-A-G-A-N, Kagan structures, and they come from an American professor, Dr. Spencer Kagan, and there are over 300 very simple tools that raise active engagement. So Dr. Kagan's fond of saying, why call on one when in the same amount of time we can call on everyone? So a traditional lecture was lots of chalk and talk, and then might stop to process and ask a question. Who in the room can answer this question? And we wait for volunteers to raise their hand. Now with a Kagan structure, the lecturer would still teach that chunk as they always ever did, and pause and ask a question, but instead of this time waiting for a volunteer, they might use a very simple structure like a timed pair share, where everyone turns to a partner, and because we've got time each or turn each structured in, every person in the room is articulating, sharing a response. So it's very active, it's not sitting back watching someone else name the answer, it's about you and having your opportunity to share.
That was an important part of the whole session this morning, was individual accountability. The way the structures were set up, each student was accountable for a part of their engagement, so there was no hiding. So rather than me asking a question, somebody volunteering an answer, more often than not the same 3-4 students offer that answer. Everybody had to be involved, and everybody was either talking to someone or listening to someone. So everybody was processing what I'd said. There was no hiding place for them to switch off. They had to listen because they knew they were going to be involved in some part of the dissemination of that information to the peers.
And there are some very simple principles as a teacher you can learn. That's what Stewart's been working on. And you can just step back and look at your classroom and see, are those principles present? And if they are present at the same time, you have engaging cooperative learning. If any of them are missing, that's where the students find the opportunity to sit back and hide or switch off. So they're just very, very simple tools that you can add in with any content.
Well, for me as a practitioner, rather than as Gavin in his role as consultant, for me it was clear from the outset that all students were expected to be engaged, so therefore it was no surprise. So nobody was sat there thinking, I hope he doesn't call on me, I hope he doesn't point me out, because they all knew that at some point they were going to be called upon to do something. Everybody was.
So expectations have changed.
So that was it. It was the expectation. They knew it was going to happen, so they were already mentally preparing themselves for it. We saw in the reaction of the students as they walked in the room, the room's changed. I can't sit where I normally sit. So right from the start, it was clear that we were doing something different today. So they need to be on the toes, they need to be ready for anything.
Well, we use an analogy of a toolbox. And just like somebody who's got a toolbox, you have a tool for every particular job. So we have a tool to create a verbal list. So the traditional lecturer might say, I'm trying to create this list, who in the room can give me an answer? They might call on several students to give one answer each, and there are multiple students that don't say a word. Now we use a very simple structure, and this is the simplest that there is, a rally robin. Now if you think of a rally in tennis, you get this up and back action between two players. So you have two students, and the robin aspect is to do with talking. So they create a verbal list back and forth. Now every student in the room is naming answers, and every student names several answers each. So think of the difference in terms of recall. You remember more than you say. So do we want 7 students giving one answer, or every student giving several? And as they give answers, they trigger new ideas for each other, they remind each other of things they've forgotten. They get more energy for new learning because they're not having to listen for great periods of time. As they talk, they shift information from short term to long term, and the benefits are multiple benefits.
Just think about the level of engagement. In a room full of 40 students, a list of 7 things, you would have 7 verbal transactions between me and 2 or 3 students. When they're doing it in that structured form, there are 280 verbal transactions of back and forth within the room, so it increased exponentially.
Yeah, there's more output, there's more input, and it's all in a safer context, because if I get something wrong, I get some coaching from my partner on a one-to-one. If I get something wrong in a whole class setting, I might be that anxious that I never raise my hand again. I learned that that's not for me. Here there's safety, psychological safety for the brain.
Well, we actually discussed this together as the session was going on, and there were various moments where we had a snapshot of the whole class, and we were pointing out, look at the engagement, look at the focus of that group, the intensity of what they're discussing. And it was unlike anything you would see in a traditional lecture, because there isn't that opportunity for the student to have that much focus and engagement, because it's just not the right format for it.
And of course they're working on important social skills at the same time. They're part of a team. There's a support network, and we're mirroring things that are going to be essential in the workplace. So as well as learning content skills, they're learning academic, social skills as well.
Yeah.
We've also asked for feedback from the students, and that's been positive. We've had a brief look, we're going to analyse that properly, but the initial feedback was really good, that the students really enjoyed it, and it enabled them to achieve more in a safer environment.
You get to do more of what they want to do, and that's to talk, work with others, but it's in a structured way. So that it goes with their basic needs. And from the teacher's point of view, teaching is a lot easier and it's more successful. So it's low effort, high return.